Hi, Music Theory. We're going to do two things together today, and then you're going to go off and do some practice quizzes as well. So the first thing is we're just going to review page 15 of your text. After the text discusses major scales and minor scales, and you're working on your major scales right now, it talks about scale degree names. So if we went through and thought about a scale, this is a C scale right here. This is scale degree 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is what we call lower 7, and this is what we just call 7, and I'll explain those in a minute. But scale degree 1 has a name. It's called tonic. 2 is supertonic. 3 is mediant. 4 is subdominant. 5 is dominant. 6 is submediant. And depending on if you're using a major scale or a version of the minor scale, your 7th note will be a half step below the tonic note. Think about B going up to C, and I'll show you that on a keyboard in just a second. And if it's a half step below the tonic or first note, we call it leading tone because it leads us there. If it's a whole step below, and that happens in minor scales and modes, so you see they've got a B flat here, then it has a different name called subtonic. Okay. Now, if you're just wondering how these are all organized, there's a little diagram here that kind of explains. If your tonic is home, or 1, okay, the next most important chord is the dominant, or 5 steps up, right there, okay? And this will be the dominant from above, and if you go 5 steps down, you get to number 4, and they call that the dominant from below, or the subdominant, okay? So the mediant is the one, which is 3 in this case, halfway between the tonic and the dominant, and the submediant, which is 6, scale degree 6, is halfway between the tonic and the dominant below, or the subdominant. And then there's, supertonic, which is whole step above 1, right there. And we have what we call subtonic, which is a whole step below 1, right? So super in is above and sub is below, whole step. And then finally we just have the leading tone, which is the half step below, number 7 right there. Takes us up to there, okay? And that's it. We talk about scale degrees using these names. We talk about chords on these scale degrees using these names. So I'll, instead of saying the 1 chord and the 5 chord are the most important chords and frame up a piece of music, we'll say the tonic and the dominant chords, okay? And we use all of these, and it's a nice way to help us also not be confused when I say it's 2 or it's 3 or it's 4. Are we talking about scale degrees? Are we talking about intervals? When we use these words, so it's very specific. Anyhow, there are 2 quizzes over in Canvas that just make you practice these until you have them memorized. Think of them like training flashcards, but digital. So you can head over after this video and work on those. All right. Now, also in Canvas is a worksheet called Transposing. It's in the Scales module, and you need to download it and do this along with me, okay? And if you haven't done that yet, pause the video, go download it, print it, and then we're going to do, well, a good chunk of this together so you understand how transposition works, and that you're doing it mechanically correctly, and then maybe I'll let you do the bottom ones on your own, and it also shows you scales application, okay? So transposing is when you take an existing melody or chords, or both. In this case, there's no chords, but it's melody, and you change it from being in one scale or key. When we say we're in the key of C, we're using the C scale. And these are all major scales right now. We haven't dealt with minor scales yet, but the process is the same. And writing it in the equivalent positions on a different scale, right? So this can be done really quickly in your head and visually after you get the gist of it, but we're going to do it together the long way, methodically, so you get it all right. Now, if you know how to do this and you just want to make sure that we're doing it right together, put this video on double time and go along. So if I'm using the C scale, and I'm just going to write this up here, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then of course C at the top. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and by the way, after today, I'll start calling it tonic, supertonic, mediant, subdominant, etc. Okay, and I could take a look at these and I could say, well, this starts on the third note, and that goes to the second note, and that goes to the first note. This is mi, re, do, right? Mi, re, do, ti. This would be 7, la, so, right? So, fa, mi, re, and these are just scale degrees, right? Do, do, re, mi. Oops, I'm about to write mi, 3, okay? Re, now this is not do. It should just be a C natural in this, but it's a C sharp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a 1 here, and I'm going to put an arrow to show me that it's raised right now. Like I said, later you'll do this in your head, but for right now as a reference, let's just get that down there. It is scale degree 1, it's a C, but it's been altered, it's been raised, right? Okay, and then this is 2. So re, mi, re, di, re. That's what we call do when it's been sharped. Mi, re. And now this is C natural because this natural cancels out the sharp. So it's do, ti, la, so. All right. So we have interpreted this melody by their scale numbers or scale degrees numbers. Now, for all of these, since this is fairly high, we're just going to transpose it down. We could transpose it up, but we're going to go lower than this. Okay. So when we think about the key of G, and I'm just going to write these right here as well, that would be G, A, B, C, D, E. And if you've done your scales work, you know that 7 is F sharp, right? Because that's what makes it the key of G. It has the 1 sharp F sharp in it, and that gets the spacing between the notes to be the same. And now we just do the same thing. So we say, well, note number 3 here is there. So we're going to transpose it down so it's lower. Maybe, why are you doing this other than as an exercise? Maybe it plays better in an instrument range and easier to do. Maybe it's too high to sing. Lots of reasons for changing key. Maybe it's a transposing instrument, then you have to do that too. And we'll talk about those later. So this goes 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5. It's a scale down. We're going to go 3, 2, 1. Now I asked you to not put a key signature in, which is a code at the beginning where you put an F sharp there and then all the sharps would be F. I want you to just work with writing accidentals so you're always aware of what the note is. 7 here is F sharp. Later we will use key signatures. Okay, so there we go. And this is 6, which is E. And this is 7, or sorry, back to 5, which is D, like that. Sorry, I'm distracted. My cat is crying outside the door there. I don't know if you can hear that or not. Okay, and then this leaps up an octave. So I go up to the D up there, and it comes down a scale to 1. So D, C, B, A, G, D, C, B, A, G, like that, right? And then, now if you're wondering why does a flag or a stem go up or down, if it's a single note and it gets to the middle line, it's down, and anything over the middle line and up is down, and anything on the lower than the middle line is stems up. When it's in a group, there's different publishing standards. Some say in the group, whichever one's the highest away from the middle line chooses. Other ones say the majority rules. It's not quite standard, but I think, middle line, we've got, a third up to there, and we've only got a second down to there, so we're going to go stems down. Here, we just are on the middle line, and they're all below, so most of these get away from the middle line. We'll go stems up there, right? All right, so here's where it gets tricky, and here's where I'll do this one with you, and then you're on your own for these guys right there. And don't worry, I'll put up an answer key later. So 2 is there, and 3 is there, right? Okay, and that's fine, dotted, 16th. And when we come down to here, this is raised 1, it's not 1. Well, there's 1, my G, right? Like that, and that's fine, okay? But because this is raised 1, G is got to be sharped, okay? All right, and then we'll just continue on. Re, mi, re, because it's no longer sharped, we're going to put the natural sign in there like that. And wouldn't it be great if a computer could do all this for you? And the answer is it can, just like a calculator can do a lot of things for you. But knowing how to do this and physically writing it out is excellent, excellent work for you. Okay, now B here is note number 7, which is F sharp. So we got to put that in there like that. T, La, So. And just as a crossover to your ear training, so here's the first one. Mi, re, do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do, ti, la, so, right? So is the new do, and you can reorient in your head and go do, mi, do, so, do, and get that, and so this is do, re, mi, re, do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do, ti, la, so. So you can change key in your head now, right? All right, now, I'd like to leave you on this. However, I want to show you one thing about certain keys. B flat. So we're going to jump ahead over to here. B flat is the 2-flat scale. It's got a B flat and an E flat. So B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, and A, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? I'm going to just work right here. Now, we want to transpose this down, so we would start on D right there, right? Because that's note number 3 and note number 3. So we know we're coming down. It's a little higher than the key of G, but it's not as high as the key of C. It's a step below. So when we're here, we're going 2, 3, 2, sharp 1, or raised 1. Okay, that's going to be C, D, C, and then we're going to come down to the B flat. Now, here's just the thing I want to point out, and the reason why we didn't say this was sharp 1, but rather raised 1. Sometimes raising a note is sharping it, but sometimes, because we're in the key of B flat, there's what the note is right there. Raising it is simply taking away a sharp or a flat. So if there was a key signature, a B flat and an E flat over here, we would raise that by putting a natural there. Because we're not doing that, where we don't need to put the natural in because it's automatically natural. However, if you were writing this music and you were writing in the key of B flat or the B flat scale, and even if there wasn't the right key signature, I would put a cautionary, in other words, parentheses, natural there, because you know that you're going to have a B flat in this measure, right? And you know you're going to have a B flat in this measure right here. So you're sort of playing and thinking, oh, I've got B flats and I've got B flats. And when you get to there, even though legally speaking there's a bar line there and there's no key signature and it's B natural, put that in to remind yourself, right? And help your player not make that mistake because you've been playing B flats the whole time. So, re, mi, re, di, re, right? Di, re, mi, re, and then we put the flat back in right there. So sometimes raising a note is sharpening it, but sometimes it's simply just taking away a flat. Similarly, if you're lowering something, sometimes it's adding a flat, but sometimes it's canceling a sharp and putting a natural in. So be careful of that as you do these. All right, we'll do this one here, and we have another note that's not in the key again, and we'll just we'll do one of these and we'll deal with this. So the first thing is we analyze this, and I have it written up here for reference. It's not going to be on camera, but you should be doing this too. In the key of C or using the C scale, this is 5, 1, 3, right? Right? So, do, mi, la, so, re, mi, fa, mi, right? 5, 1, 3, 6, 5, 2, 3, 4, 3. So, do, mi, la, so, re, mi, fa, mi, right? And then so, mi, and it's the one above, ti, re, right? 5, 3, 7, 2, 1, la, 6, and ti is 7, and this is lowered 7, ti, te, la, right? This is leading tone 7 because it's a half step below C. Let me show you on the keyboard. Told you I'd do that. Here's my C right there, right? And that's B. And you see how it's just a half step away? That's leading tone. Okay, that's the name of it from the scales. However, if it's B flat, now it's a whole step away, and we call that subtonic. Supertonic is a whole step above. Subtonic is a whole step below. If you're a half step below, 7 has a special name called leading tone because it leads us back there. Ti, do. Okay? All right, so coming back to this, we have to remember that when we get to this measure, we're lowering number 7. Now this one says key of F. That's your F scale. Hopefully you've got memorized that that's F to F with a B flat. Again, we're not writing key signatures right now, so we're going to have to put the accidentals in here. We have to start on the right notes. So let's spell out our F scale. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, and E, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 7. So this starts on note 5. And I think because this is kind of low, we're going to transpose these guys up. Well, it's not super low, but we can go higher than that. So F is a fourth above C, right? 4 steps above. And so anyhow, this starts on note number 5. Note number 5 is C, so it's going to start right there, like that, okay, on this C. And then it's going to jump up to note number 1, right there. Sorry, I gotta actually confess, my eyes have gotten worse over time, and you know, kind of quasi-guessing here, because the notes look a little fuzzy without glasses, and I don't have any. All right, so, right? So, do, mi is 3, and then la, so, D, re would be G, re, right? Bum, bum, bum. These guys are above the middle line, or on the middle line or above, so stems go down. This guy's below the middle line, stem goes up, right? La, so, re, mi, which is A, fa. Now here, it's a B flat, so we have to put the flat in there, right? Fa, mi, and dotted note, okay? So the rhythms are the same, right? And then we do it again. So, super high. Mi, oh, stems in the wrong direction. So, mi, and then ti, right there, and then re, do. So re is G, re, 2, 1, right? And then we jump down to la, so, or re, do, la, which is there, D, and I'm just referencing here, and it might take you longer. If you don't have your scales memorized, you're not used to this, you know, you'll have to go through it a little slower, but that's how we get better at this. Now, 7, which is T, right, which is your leading tone, a half step below is E right there, right? But then when it goes to subtonic, or lowered 7, a whole step below the F, we have to go E flat, like that right there. And then finally to la, which is D, right there, like that, okay? When you do the key of D, that will be interesting because let's just do this over here, just so you're aware. We do D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, and C sharp. 7 will be a C sharp, won't it? Right? You'll put a C sharp there, right? Half step below D. But then when we get to lowered 7, you'll have to put a natural sign, not a flat, because it takes away that sharp. Okay? All right. Have a go at the rest of this. I will take a picture of the finished thing here and you can check against there. But it's pretty straightforward. You figure out the scale degrees for the melody, right? If there's alterations due to accidentals, chromatic notes, right, not in the scale, you have to mark them as raised note or lowered note, and then you have to do the equivalent in the new key, right? And pretty soon, as you know your scales, you can do this on site if you practice. It's very important if you make this connection between scales and scale degrees, then your solfege is good for everything. I will show you one quick example of that. So, in ear training, let's see. This is where we're headed to. So here's a hymnal song, and it's 2 flats, key of B flat, which means that B flat is Do, right? Which means that this is F, which would be B flat D, C, D, E flat, F. So, la, so, mi, so, do, re, do, la, right? Or you can learn a harmony line, right? Because you know the solfege. So, mi, fa, mi, do, mi, so, fa, right? Do, 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 so, do, 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 do. And then do, 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 mi, fa, and you can sight read. And it doesn't matter if the key changes, we can look at other songs. So let's see. All right, so here's one in the key of F, right? And that means that it's 1 flat, F is, sorry, B flat, so it's an F scale. So that means F is home, right? There's my do, which means this is mi. And if you're doing your F scale, F, G, A, B flat, C, this is so, right? So mi, fa, mi, and this it goes above. So, fa, mi, so, la, ti, do, re, mi, right? Alto lines. So, do, 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 re, do, so, la, ti, do, la, ti. So once you learn the patterns and the sounds of the solfege, and then you learn your transposition or your different scales, you can sing at sight anything you can recognize a pattern for in the scale. Plus you can write for all kinds of instruments as well. Whew. Well, there you go. That's 23 minutes of video and an assignment. So you're going to finish this assignment and check how you did. And you're going to go over to Canvas, and there's going to be some scale degrees flashcard quizzes. There may be a spell scales quiz. No, I don't think so. I think that's coming up on Friday. So just those 2 things. Have a great day. Keep working on your ear training, and if there's anything in your theory, note naming, bass clef or treble notes, or triads, or even the memorizing the scales that you don't have down, you're responsible for getting those down as a college student. I mean, I'm not going to require tests on everything all the time, but presume that it's really important that you get those guys solid so you're fluent for the next thing. All right, have a great day. Talk to you later.